Hello everyone, this is Ligny of America, and today we are recording a 3 versus 3 on Napoleon Total War. We have myself over there on the left flank, playing as the Spanish, and I've got some guerrilla units deployed in the back. Over here in the middle we have Scots playing as the Prussians, and on the far right we have just the tip playing as the Spanish as well, and he has some guerrillas deployed over here along with me. So first off, let's just start by saying, yes, it has been a while. I haven't posted, at least not Total War, in a few months, I don't think. And mainly it's just because I've been playing a lot of first-person shooters, and I actually haven't even been playing a lot with Scott or Tip or anybody. I've just been kind of doing my own thing for a while, just doing school and playing a lot of first-person shooters for the most part. But recently we have been playing a little bit of Napoleon, and this one isn't from too long ago. We decided to do a giant D-Day assault on the Ligny map, and we are playing 3 randoms for the most part. There's a guy named Buck Rogers we've played a few times, and he's playing on their side as well. I believe he's one of these middle British guys. So for now we've got Scott kind of holding up in this house to make sure the British don't try and cut off our guys here. But what we're trying to do here is basically just send everything we've got over to this flank where we've got our guys holding up on this hill behind the British. So right now we've got Tip's lights picking off some British fencibles over here, and for a while he didn't actually know we were here, so he's just now turning around. And we do have artillery on this map as well, although I believe my artillery and Tip's artillery decides to commit suicide when they cross one of these bridges. So pretty much for the entire battle, Tip and I don't, or maybe it was Scott and I believe it's Tip and I though, don't have artillery because it just kills itself, so that's awesome. And for pretty much the entire battle, it's going to be Tip's army at the front lines. Mine takes a very long time to get around this whole flank here. And right now, looks like Austria is still taking a while to figure out what's going on here, but they are deploying troops to both flanks. And the British are just setting up on this hill here. So since my infantry is going to take forever, I've decided to send my cav up to the front just to make sure that we can hold with these guerrilla troops. And especially since we have a lot of British line approaching right now, so I was hoping to get as many troops to support that as possible, especially since we don't have the numbers to fight full armies. It looks like Scott, I believe they might have, I think he got his unit out of there, but they did destroy that building that he posted up in there. The British have a 9-pounder, so I think, yeah, they've all got round shot artillery, so no howitzers on their side here. So I believe this is, oh no, I guess it's Scott and I that have artillery that just decides to kill itself. Let's watch it over here. And our cap glitches out too. These bridges are just a bit messed up in Napoleon sometimes. Alright, here we go. The suicide of the artillery. It's coming. Let me shrink that map too. Yep, there's oh no. Yeah, that's my artillery killing itself. Oh wait, no, that's my cav. I guess he got hit by artillery. But here's our artillery train's just deciding to run over here and die. I believe that was Tips that came out with 12 guys because I don't remember using mine whatsoever. Here we go. We've got our troops engaging the British now. I'm sending cav in to make them form square. Also, I'm hoping to record some more live Total War battles. I do prefer them. I think that it's a lot more smooth, I guess, and our humor and everything plays into it a lot better than these post battle commentaries. Plus, I think our personalities just really show off when you can see us playing. And hopefully, we were playing some Ghost Recon Wildlands the other day, and it was just absolutely hilarious. So I wouldn't mind recording some of that as well, just to change up the videos a little bit. But hopefully, I can post a little more now. Feeling a little more motivated to get into posting videos again. Also, we did break 500, which I didn't actually notice until a few days ago, but that's pretty good as well. And it's a giant high mark for us. I mean, I didn't even expect to get past 100. It took forever to get there, but we're at 500, which is insane. I can't believe there's 500 people watching these videos. Just unbelievable. I honestly, especially my earlier videos, they were so bad, but I guess the quality has improved a little bit. So over here, we've got a square shooting off because I forced them to square with my gunner cav, and I'm just sitting back picking them off. And the British have just gone to a full charge because my cav have disrupted their lines. Getting more cav over to support. They have hit my lights here. We're doing quite a bit of damage to their lines, though. And right now, Tip's just kind of getting forced back. The British are storming his hill, but we have our wave of infantry coming over here. This is all Tip's guys. Mine are still way off in the back here. Like I said, it's going to be his guys for a while before mine actually get to show up here. The Austrians are tossing in their cavs too, as well, though. So I'm trying to pull my lights back through this forest. And I really don't want to throw in my cav just yet. I want to wait till I can get these cav that are already engaged to route. So here he got out of square, so I'm just going to charge right back in. Completely wreck that unit. We do have Austrians coming in as well. Their forces have arrived. And they've got some guys way off in the distance showing up too. So here I'm just going to charge on through, hit these Austrian troops. Try and keep that momentum going. Austrian cav is pushing through this forest. Sadly, my guys can't form square. They're in a melee fight there. And I don't even know how Tip's holding right now. He's got his cav trying to hold him off, but he's in a pretty messy situation here. Right now, I've got most of my cav while I'm dealing with this little Austrian cav and some British charging units at the front there. I'm trying to disrupt with cav over here so that they can't reinforce that. And as for Tip, it looks like his guy just isn't very organized. He should be sending cav around trying to hit these lights, but instead he's getting caught up on squares. And he's still trying to run these infantry up. We do have some foot guards trying to engage there. And here I'm just still poking around with my cav, trying to do what I can. Over here we have Tip mostly skirmishing with these British guys. There's not much going on here. No, we don't really plan on attacking there. We're just trying to put on the pressure on this side, which so far is working. We've got the attention of most of their units, so that's going well. Looks like Tip is getting engaged, though. He did get his squares, but he's getting hit by some cav. That was a good idea by this guy. Hold him off a little longer. Looks like Britain's trying to do the same thing there. And we've got these British foot guards pushing the line here, trying to head up that hill, but my cav came in right in the rear, try and force him back because I saw the Tip land one line unit holding off against foot guards and two other British units. So it looks like most of my cav has been killed off, but it held them off and allowed me to realign my troops, what's left of them anyway. I believe this is, I'm not sure, that might be, I believe that's my light unit there. I think Tip's died up here somewhere, maybe, I'm not sure. Mine might have died up here, I have no idea. Anyway, we are trying to hold with what we have, that's the point. And I don't have a lot left. And then most of my cav has been killed off. This is my last cav unit, and I'm trying to stall with these lights. I see that we're being overwhelmed here, and I'm just trying to stall long enough that Tip can get some lines set up to push back these dudes here. Here comes Scott's units. They're coming in. Most of our guys are going to be exhausted, but we have to get them in position, or we will lose this point that we've been losing out a lot of guys for. Even if we lost it, I would say it's been worth it. We've killed quite a bit of their guys in return for not too many. I believe this is also my unit. Most of my cav was tearing through, and I was trying to get him over to Tip's side because I saw all these heavy British units pushing there. So here we've got Tip's units moving up. These Austrians need to be pushing harder. They should have tried to at least get the fight in this forest. Now they're just pulling back, and they're going to have another uphill fight for them. It would have been best to probably just hold this position here. And he needs to get that artillery up. Although the British are positioning some of their cannons to face our flank there. You can see Tip still holding that hill. And the skirmish is going pretty violently for both sides here. I wouldn't say either one is winning decisively. Also, for the back to the Ghost Recon game. So the thing, if you don't know about that game, it's basically a first-person or third-person shooter, depending on how you want it. It's basically a giant war version of Grand Theft Auto, or like a drug cartel version of Grand Theft Auto, where you're just kind of your American troops in Bolivia. And but anyway, so when Scott and I and Tip were playing, we do some pretty fun stuff, and a lot of funny scenarios happen. So I thought it'd be pretty fun to throw that to a video, maybe. or some other first-person shooter stuff, or just some game variation. Although I do want to stick to Total War as well. Obviously, Napoleon, that's my favorite so far. Unless they come out with a better engine and maybe another gunpowder version of Total War would be nice. Over on this side, we've got Scott facing the rear because the Austrians push through, and they are also holding this peninsula here. Not very heavily, but they do have the threat there. My guys, my exhausted troops, finally getting over here. You can see all of the guys that died just walking here or being trampled. Like, the infantry guys, I actually learned this a little recently, is that when you have huge groups of troops like this, the cav will run through, but they'll trample some guys, so some of them will die. Like right here, we have some dead Prussians and stuff. And I don't know, it's kind of annoying, but I guess it's realistic. So over here, I'm trying to push up. I'm going to use this hill to get as close as I can without being shot. So I'm going to try and force the British back by taking this ridge. I realized that this was a very important point if I was going to hold, if Tip and I were going to hold this ridge here. And it's working. It's forcing the British back. So now we've got Scott's guys deploying. For the most part, it's just my guerrillas holding this right flank along with Scott's cav. And Tip's lines have taken up the middle and the left. Although I asked Scott to help me out on the right here just to help me hold out until my troops arrive, which here they come across that bridge, this big wave of guys. All very exhausted though. Poor dudes. And since all of our artillery decided to kill itself instead of being able to position on this hill, although like I said, Tips did make it here, so they're deploying, but for the most part all of our artillery was killed off. So we are going to take a beating from this British artillery, which I believe they have some more up here. They have this one. Yeah, they have this one also, which isn't opening fire, but I believe they moved that one up. And then they have this Austrian gun getting in position. So we're in a bad spot right now. We're at a standoff in the game, which I'm going to fast forward a little bit actually. And so during this standoff, we're just going to be getting pelted by artillery. We are returning fire, but we are losing that fight for sure. And Tip realizes that we are losing that fight, so he's just going to be firing at their infantry while the enemy decides to target his artillery. Alright, so we are back. I just wanted to update on the situation a little bit here. So Tip is moving up some of his lights to kind of poke and prod at the British here. And Scott actually pulled back from this position. We didn't need to hold it anymore, so we're letting the Austrians take command of this island, I guess, or section. I don't know. Yeah, or maybe, no, that's a peninsula because it's stuck in between all of this. So we're letting take control of that strong point, and Scott is just going to guard the rear again. That's pretty much his role for this battle, while the rest of us move at the front, although he does have his lines at the front as well, assisting, but he does have those rear guard troops. So right now we've got Tip poking around, trying to get some free kills if he can. And we're still getting pelted by this artillery, although they have decided to change targets and hit our infantry. I believe I asked Tip to back up his guys maybe, because stray shots could do a lot of damage. And my guys, for the most part, this is all of them right here. I'm just resting them up, and then I'm going to start scooting them over to the right. And I've just got a few of my guerrillas and surviving guys holding this position for now. Looks like Tip didn't like that engagement, so he pulled back his lights. Maybe he's resting up, I'm not sure. They are doing a slow retreat from this side though, just kind of giving the Austrians some room to cross if they so wish, which is good for us. This is what we do a lot in our games, especially our guerrilla tactics or our river crossing ones, is if you buckle in right near the river, nobody's going to cross. It'll be a shooting match across, or nobody will engage in general. But if you pull back like this and give them ample room to spread out, it's a lot more inviting for enemy troops to come. And when they do cross and spread out like that, that gives you, you know, obviously the advantage to surround them and kill off whatever they send across. So if you want them to actually cross, you got to give them that room, otherwise they won't for the most part. And that's how we get a lot of battles started, is we'll make it very inviting and tempting for the enemy to cross, and then we'll kill off what they have, which gives us the advantage for the next part of the battle, because usually it happens in stages. It looks like Tip is actually picking some more fights over here with his lights, just kind of going back and forth, doing what he can. And I believe Scott or somebody, maybe it's, I'm not sure what that is. We do have some, oh, it's their guys. They're mostly shooting the ground though. They should retarget these guys on our hill. The Austrians and British do have their guns set up over here as well. Little artillery hill. That is pounding us to death. I'm just making sure my guys are rested up. They're mostly tired for now, so still holding out there. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Alright, here we go. So my guys are all rested up. I'm deploying them on my flank. Over on this side, we actually had Scott cross over, and he's going to sweep up these Austrians. He's engaging those cav, which are trying to run across here. And Scott and Tip have both organized their lights to be pointing off in almost every direction here to be engaging. Although they seem to be losing these fights, they are engaged with line infantry. Over on this side, you can see, especially from the map, that we are extremely congested. They have a very strong position, triple lines. They do have lights as well to cover their front, and then they have some of their more damaged units just kind of holding the rear, as well as some of these special units that they have. We're still getting hit by the artillery. Over here, Scott's pushing up some infantry to engage with this foot that decided to cross over. Could be a mistake, not too sure yet. And on this side, it looks like we actually had a cav engagement here, but now we've got a full assault of this house here, which is occupied by Landwehr and Austrian Fusiliers. Looks like those Prussians are deciding to charge in. Here we go, we got these door guards just getting swarmed by hundreds of dudes. Just a giant ball of bayonets. And now they are spreading throughout the house, coming in through the back. The second floor is still holding strong. Soon enough, they will make their way up, though. Man, just those few guys are the only ones keeping them from getting up that staircase there. Just checking around. It's just a skirmish fight outside. Let's take a look back in here again. Oh, and here they go, making their way upstairs now. These guys are, oh, I think they're routing, so they're just running down and dying. And from the outside is a bloodbath. Look at them speed walk up those stairs. Look how eager they are to take care of these lights. Oh, and I believe we are starting our engagement over here. So Tip, Scott, and I are all advancing our full forces. I have a very strong position over here, especially descending from the hill. I'm advancing first and foremost with my lights. And a lot of my guerrilla units to take the first volleys. Scott is taking the middle position here, and Tip is advancing on the left. He's definitely got some bad morale going for him, though, and he needs to get these reserves pushed up because this doesn't look like the strongest line, especially facing off against those British. Over here, I have Scott helping me out, charging in some cav. The enemy did not get any squares there. And I'm going to fill in that gap that they made with some Fusiliers. Looks like the enemy artillery has retargeted over to these cav. They realized the threat. Here we've got a double line firing on me now. Some Coldstream guards. And you can see, especially from the map, it looks like we are extremely outnumbered and outpositioned. Except they've congested their center and their, for the most part, as well as their rear. But they definitely left their left flank here extremely weak, which is where we have stacked up, and that's where we are breaking through. So this entire strong position of troops is having to curve and be forced back, which gives us more firepower on them. Especially this river position, we're able to fire on the sides while Tip and Scott push the center in the front. So here I'm still just pushing up my lights, making sure they're taking the volleys. They're on the front. In the back I've got my double line with my line infantry, and Scott is pulling through with his cav up here. So here you can see the left flank is looking extremely rough, although the British are trying to outstretch us there. I have 2 Fusiliers that are easily going to mow down this small flanking force they have going there. Not to mention their frontline troops here are extremely weak, on the verge of collapse. You can still hear those cannons from this artillery position firing in on us. You can see they actually have a very good view of everything going on here. It's a very good position for the most part. That left is a little hard to see because of the trees, but the middle and the right are pretty visible. You can see all those Spanish and Prussian troops pushing forward as these British front lines are collapsing. Looks like they're actually targeting my flank though, which is probably the best idea. Definitely the most danger over here. Over on this side, I am facing their flank. The Austrians are helping out though. This is very good because this little outcrop here of their troops makes it so I have to focus here, which means I can't keep curving in, so I have to stop and deal with this before I can curve in. So it actually gives them more time over here, although it's looking pretty rough on almost all of their flanks at this point. And Scott was capable of taking out the Austrians on this side as well as over here, although they are having a little final stand in this house to make sure that we don't really have complete control. And they also have 2 columns of troops coming in to reinforce. So here they have decided that the new threat is right in front of them, where these Prussian musketeers are pushing forward. We're on this side, we got a little melee fight. They're falling back. And here I've pretty much taken out this flank. I just need to finish up these guys so I can still push everything in over here to finish off their main force, which you can see is right here, centered on this hill. The rest of their flank has completely fallen back. It looks like Tip forgot his Walloon guards in the back here, but it doesn't, at this point, doesn't look like he'll be needing them either. So at this point, I took out most of their units, so I just decided to go in for a melee charge. I've got my Walloon guards pushing up on the flank. My general's just chilling in the back for now. And with lots of firepower, we are going to be mowing down these frontal units here. Looks like the Austrians are bringing those 2 columns to help hold the front though, which is extremely weak. And their artillery is still firing in on our infantry here. And they're doing some last minute bayonet charges as a last resort as well. Oh, who's general? Oh, Scott appears to have ran his general into some stakes on accident here. Got his general killed there. And over on this flank, the Austrians are feeling a little ballsy, getting up close with me while the British lights cover them from the rear. Trying to get as much firepower as they can before we collapse in on them. What they need to be doing is lining up with these British shouldn't be pulling up their cannons. Yeah, they get those guys deployed. What they need to be doing though is lining up with those cannons so they can use canister on our troops here, which the Austrians are doing over here, but it seems they're doing a lot of friendly fire as well, blowing chunks in that British line. Doing some damage to these, some of Scott's line over here as well though. Or, Tips, my bad, for Spain. It looks like Scott actually might just be passing up these Austrian houses to come in and sweep up the flank here. So here, what Tip and I are doing for the most part is just throwing in our lights that are out of ammo. He did the same thing over here a little bit ago. And I'm just going to use it to kind of keep these guys from firing. Maybe take out these cannons if I can, or at least get them engaged so that they don't fire canister. And finally, I've swept up this flank, so I've got my wave coming over. And you can see it was a pretty big melee fight that took place. But now I've got my big wave of infantry coming in to reinforce. And because he's sweeping up my guys here, I think I just decided to go on a full melee charge. I think that's what we do at the end here. Oh, and we killed Davis's general. Killed over here where Scott's troops have crossed over. And now it is a complete and utter collapse of the British and Austrian lines here. And it looks like my general just got killed. I believe I threw him in there. Yeah, he was in the melee fight there. He's still running around though, causing problems. And I've got my guys just shooting into the melee fight here, although the Austrian general and a lot of their infantry has been tied up in that as well. And we did get their guns distracted here. Now it's looking like a full charge. We do have the Austrians trying to hold though. Oh, blowing holes with that canister. Causing some serious damage. Looks like Scott is just going to try and push on through though before they get any more shots off. Yeah, and over here I'm just in a full melee fight. So that's what we did. We just did a full charge on all flanks for the most part. Ooh, they're still firing that canister though. Blowing holes in people. Looks like we did kill Buck Rogers' general there. Oh, and now they're shooting indiscriminately into this. My general staff did not rout. The general died, but they kept on pushing. So there you go. That is the end of the fight. I got a 1,300 kills with 988 losses. Scott got 1,100 with 900 losses. And Tip broke about even with 1,077 to 1,069. And most of the enemy did fairly well, although Davis definitely took a lot of damage there without causing too much in return. My best unit was my Guerrilla line infantry with 175 kills. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I can get some more Total War videos up, maybe some Ghost Recon like I was talking about earlier, and I will see you guys in the next one.